Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bates Botanical Boot Camp. My name is Adam Chapman. Around here, I'm known as General Manager, but in my private life, I'm also known as Dungeon Master and player occasionally. I've played Dungeons & Dragons for 31 years, and it's been a huge part of my life. It's one of the reasons why my wife and I met, and it's influenced my life more than I ever thought it would. I'm very excited to bring a topic up today that I've kind of slowly pondered for 2 decades as I've worked here at Bates Nursery, and that is fantasy-themed plants or Dungeons & Dragons gardens. And I have a few of these that I'll point out today. I have a few of these at my house, obviously. I can't not have a few of these. The selection I have today is rather broad ranged, as you would expect. There's some perennials, there's some evergreens, there's Japanese maples, there's grasses, flowering plants. So it's a really good mix and could really slide right into anyone's garden. Shade garden, sun garden, Japanese garden. I think what I'll do is I'll start with the elephant in the room, which is the biggest plant that's in here. You can only see part of it, and it's this guy right here. This is ice dragons, or ice dragon, Japanese maple, acer, palmatum, dissectum, ice dragon. I had this one at my house thanks to a friend of mine, and you can see the fall color is amazing. Orange, red, even a little gold in there. It's green normally, so when it first leaves out, it's going to have some orange and red in the foliage as well, the very new leaves. And then they'll turn green as they age over the summer. Periodically throughout the summer, late summer and early fall, it'll send out little shoots of new growth that will be red and orange. And it just reminds me of a dragon breathing a breath of fire, which is really cool.
It certainly has the most striking gradient out of a lot of Japanese maples.
Yes, it's amazing. And mine hasn't turned yet. I suspect that's because we just got this one from Oregon 3 days ago. And I'm pretty sure their climate has been more conducive to good fall color. Whereas, Middle Tennessee, as you guys know, if you're in this area, it's been rather warm. We haven't had that many. We haven't even dipped into the 30s yet, I don't think. So that's kind of hampering our fall color here, at least in Middle Tennessee. So mine hasn't turned yet, but I'm waiting for that day when I go out there and it's this color. So I'll just do the next logical step from that, which is the second biggest elephant in the room, or mastodon, or saber-toothed tiger, or bull land shark, whatever you want to call it. Red dragon, Japanese maple, also have one of these. It's in a container and it's already lost its leaves. Didn't really turn very well. I think it's because it wasn't in enough sun, but still a great plant. It actually can take a decent amount of sun and that's also the case for this ice dragon. Usually with these very delicate lace leaf Japanese maples, you want to give them at least some afternoon shade to keep them from burning in the summer, or really hot summers that we have here. But these two varieties actually can handle a bit of sun. In fact, the ice dragons I have gets all day sun in the middle of the day, and it's done really well. It gets shade in the morning, shade in the afternoon, but from 10 to 3 o'clock, it's in the sun, especially in the summertime. I highly recommend, even if you're not a Dungeons & Dragons aficionado, getting these plants. They're really great. So I think what I'll do is I'll stay with the dragon theme, since we've already hit upon the most legendary monster in humankind, possibly. Definitely while we're on this subject. So here we have black dragon cryptomeria. I have 2 of these in containers on my front porch. I will go ahead and admit I need to either put them in the ground or bigger pots. They're looking a little bad right now.
I was just about to say, does that not get huge, cryptomeria? That one?
Yes. So most people think, when they think cryptomeria, they think Yoshino or radicans, or even just the species, and those do get massive. Some are like 30 to 60 foot tall. They can get really big.
Yeah.
But what's great about black dragon, I aside from the name. And side note, this does not spit a line of acid, in case you're wondering.
I was wondering.
This does not get big. I think it maxes out about 9 foot if it's in the ground and in a place that it really likes. Maybe 4-ish, 5-ish feet wide at the base. But I just love the really dark green color of it. And I think that's where the name comes from, because it's so dark green it could almost, go into black territory.
That's like the fir trees that are up in the mountains, kind
Correct.
of in that dark.
It definitely
realm,
has
right?
that kind of motif going for it. And this might be one of my favorite evergreens, just period. So staying with the dragon theme, I'm going to go with one right beside. I'm going to have to move it a little bit, I think, so you can see it.
Do what you got to do.
This is kind of a new grass that we have. It's a maiden grass, and it's just starting to turn. You can see a little bit of red here in the blade, but if you look at the picture, you can see that eventually the whole thing becomes red and burgundy and orange. And it's called Fire Dragon, which don't think there's technically a fire dragon in Dungeons and Dragons. There's a fire drake. Red dragons are typically the ones that people think of that breathe fire. This is really, really awesome grass that you can see how much space there is between where the blades end and where the seed head starts. And so it actually looks like it's just breathing that up above the blades there.
Can you bend that down a little bit to see the plumes?
Yeah.
Or bend it forward?
I think I'll just lower it.
Yeah, there you go.
So
there they are.
Yeah, so those are the seed heads there. Really awesome. And it'll, from what I understand, like was said, because these are so new, essentially all winter they'll be that color. I mean, I think probably towards the end of winter they'll probably just turn tan like most grasses do, and then you just cut it back right before spring starts, and you'll have a show all over again for the next year. And so I should mention, since I mentioned it with these two, that the black dragon and the fire dragon are going to be full sun, preferably. Probably neither one of these will do good in deep shade. Probably could handle a little bit of shade, but full sun preferably. I believe there's one more dragon, and I don't actually I don't actually have one with me, but I have the closest thing that you'll probably ever find. So this is regular monkey grass here. I'm sure everybody recognizes this. But this is just regular variegated, and it is not the running kind. It's the Liriope muscari, which is the clumping variety. But there is a Liriope spicata, which is thinner leaves, smaller leaves or blades. And there's one called Silver Dragon that is the blade is almost all white. And we used to carry it years and years ago. I should have got some when we had it then, because we haven't carried it in over 15 years that I can remember. So if you find it and you want to try it, I will caution you, probably the reason why we don't carry it anymore is because it is a Liriope spicata. It does spread. That's one of the traits of the spicata monkey grass, is that it will take over an area, and even further if you allow it. If you do find it, I'm not saying not to get it, but just understand that's the case. I think that's all the dragons, but those are pretty awesome.
Quite a range too.
Yes.
Of just foliage color and tolerances, so you could spread the dragons out in your landscape depending on the different conditions, and then to have different that's dragon layers, if you will.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea that I have in my head, is having all this stuff kind of throughout my garden, in the shadier spots and in the sunnier spots, and it's kind of what I've done. So, for example, we'll just go right on into what I've done. So this is a blanket flower. I was looking for goblin blanket flower, which I have at my house. This is spin top yellow touch, so it's not goblin, but it's very close. Goblin looks just like this, but it is more gold and yellow in the bloom, and it kind of mounds up to about 1.5 feet or so, maybe not even that tall, and maybe a couple feet wide. And this is good in sun to part shade. I've actually got it under quick fire hydrangea that I have, that had this one, so if you look behind me, had this one been out, I would have probably gotten this one. This is called Firelight. Really, when you think of an adventuring company going on the road to slay a villain or a monster, you think of campfires and getting attacked randomly in the evening on someone's watch. So, my quick fire it does have some different traits, but the common thing for all of these panicle hydrangeas is they'll take full sun, and that's where I have mine. It's on a corner, no shade, facing south. It's gotten huge. I've limbed it up, so it's kind of multi-trunk tree form, and I've got this guy underneath. And every spring, mid to late spring, gives me some awesome blooms, and then some sporadically throughout the summer. So I also have Firewitch Dianthus.
That's just the coolest plant name ever.
Yes. So I'm sure there are some of you out there that have encountered a fire witch or two on your adventures. He or she probably was not quite as nice as this fire witch is, I would dare say. So what's great about this plant, it's a great ground cover for part sun. The foliage is evergreen and blooms prolifically in the spring, so this will basically just be covered in blooms, and then kind of sporadically throughout the summer and into the fall. So and it is also fragrant.
I love the smell of Dianthus.
Yes,
it's great. It's intoxicating,
especially when because where I've got these is on the other side of my entrance, the stairs going up to my front door on the left side, or no, it's on the right side, is a patch of these. Just beautiful when it's in full bloom. Trying to think what else I got here. Oh, since we're on to people, or non-player characters, as they're called, this is something that I think everyone watching will know. This is a butterfly bush, probably one of the most well-known. It's called Black Knight. And as we all know, it always triumphs. Now, it is going to bloom pretty much all summer, and dark purple blooms, gets big. The only issue I've had with butterfly bushes in general, including Black Knight, is you'll have them for years and then all of a sudden they just die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Mine was like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
It got really woody.
Yeah, I think it may have something to do with climactic events. In other words, it may be that they're kind of like crepe myrtles and they're really sensitive to late freezes and late frosts in the spring. So that will be my first guess. Yeah, it could be a dog that's just taking a shine to it. It's probably the weather. So there's Black Knight butterfly bush.
Mine, I think, died after the October drought we had a couple of years ago that was exacerbated.
That could definitely do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their root system, I think, is fairly shallow. It's not a very deep root system. So.
There's a clue right there.
So the next thing we're going to go into magic here for a minute. So this is Anna's Magic Ball, Arbovita. Quite small, very colorful. And why they didn't call it scrying device, I will never understand. I mean, Anna's scrying device just sounds, I don't know, more sophisticated. But, Anna's Magic Ball, that's great. That's something you could roll up, as a random magical item that if you're a dungeon master, that your troop of adventurers could find.
Truly.
Hopefully you have a magic user among you that can make use of it.
Yeah, I could see stumbling upon that in the Feywild, actually.
That's what I'm thinking.
Then plucking that Arborvitae scrying ball up and then having a look-see.
This, like I said, stays very small. I don't even think it gets 2 feet tall and wide. It stays really small. So that's why, if you're looking at this, I don't know that you'd ever need a bigger container than this one right here to grow it in.
I'm looking online, height 15 inches, spread 15 inches.
That's what I thought. So
that's less than a foot and a half.
What that means is that it's extremely slow growing, I would imagine. I mean, this is a really new variety. I think we've only had it for a year and a half or something like that. So you would have to be fairly patient for it to fill in, or you could just have one or two just to accent somewhere, a little spot that you may have in your garden. So yeah, I mean, this kind of color, in my experience, goes well with reds and blues. So, if you put this with, I don't know, maybe a loropetalum, or if you wanted a blue spruce or a blue atlas cedar or something, it would look really good. Planted kind of below it, in front of it.
There's also another one that we've received recently called Philip's Magic Moment.
That's correct.
And that is not so small of an arborvitae.
No, that one gets a lot bigger.
But it is kind of yellow-green.
Yeah, but I don't know. Would you consider that a Dungeons & Dragons plant if it's a magic moment?
I guess I would consider it being like a spell name.
Oh, speaking of that, Tyler, our producer Tyler here, who is also a gamer.
The disembodied voice.
I'm gonna move this out of the way so I can show you. This is a sedge called Feather Falls.
Oh, there it is.
And longtime gamers will know that there is a very useful spell, maybe one of the most useful first level spells in the game, called Featherfall.
Yep. I would say it's indispensable if you're playing an Eberron campaign.
It's a must-have for a first level wizard.
Mm-hmm.
I would say at least have it in your repertoire.
You never know when you're going to get knocked off a ledge. And
if I recall, there's a wizard in this book that uses it to save himself.
And that book is called The Folly of Hunting?
That's correct.
I wonder who wrote that.
I wrote it.
Oh.
And it chronicles a troop of adventurers that have been going for 25 years this month. So,
still going.
Happy anniversary. Yes, we are playing that on Saturday. Happy anniversary to those guys. Can't believe they stayed with me that long. They've endured my dungeon mastering for 25 years. It's amazing. So what's great about the Carracks, in general, I think most Carracks are evergreen. Now, I don't know that I would plant this in full sun with really crappy soil like you would do with a monkey grass. I don't know that they would thrive in that kind of condition, but certainly, mostly sun, decent soil. It's great as a border or accent in a bed. So, and this is really new as well. I think this just came out last year. And you can see where the name comes from. It's very delicate looking, and the blades come over and fall down. Feather falls.
And I'll just tag this on. We have a pro tip that Austin made a few months ago about using a hair tie with sedge.
Yes.
Because of that falling movement, it helps to tie it up when you're planting it so you don't plant the strands in the ground with the plant.
Yes. That's a great pro tip from our boy, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
I think I may have one more up here.
Well, what's next to the...
So I have a holly here. I might be able to move this. Or can you get it?
That's as tight as I can crop right there.
Yeah, so it's right here. This is a Ilex Merzerve cultivar, and Merzerve just means blue holly, essentially. And so they have small serrations that are not very abrasive, really. So they don't really, they're not really that bad to touch, like a lot of hollies are. They look like it. And so there's actually two of these that go together. This is Castle Spire, which is the female. There's male and female. The male is Castle Wall. I didn't have room to bring him in here, but it looks very much the same. And so the Castle Spire will have red berries in the fall and winter, as this one does now. I don't know if you can see that. There are some berries on there.
That's a little harder for me to see. But.
Yeah, they're on there. And what's cool about these two varieties is that they are generally columnar. They will grow more up than out. So they're great for a tighter spot. A lot of these new houses going up around town, particularly East Nashville and the Nations, are tall and skinny, and they are on a lot meant for one house, and there's actually 4 houses there now. So, one of the biggest areas where I've seen growth in the last 10 years, particularly within the green industry, is finding these cultivars that are columnar or more upright, to fit into these tight spaces. And this is one of those.
You need your tall, skinny plants for your tall, skinny house.
Yep, exactly. They would be great. They max out about 6 to 7 foot tall, I think, maybe a little taller with age, but probably not much. And about 4 to 5 feet wide. So they would be good for full sun to part shade. Probably wouldn't do well at all in full shade. And the biggest question I get is, how many of the males do I need, and how close does it need to be? And the answer is you only need one in your yard, and it doesn't have to be right with these, although they look enough alike where you could sneak it into a line of them or a clump of them and you would never know, except that the male never has berries.
Most people are looking for the berries if they buy the pair.
Correct. Then. Yeah, correct. You want to have those red, when you buy a holly, most people are thinking, I want that red in the fall and winter. and the male's not gonna do it. So it will bloom more. You'll notice that the male produces more pollen than the female. But I think that's everything for today.
What about that?
There are more things. So if
Yucca
I get
over there that you got?
Do what?
Is that a yucca on the corner over there?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the yucca.
Blended in with the feather falls.
Blended with the grasses. All right. So the last guy. This is golden sword yucca, and it's a filamentosa variety, which just means that its blades are straight up and stiff. So once this guy gets older, I would not do what I'm doing right now, because it will hurt. It might even do 1d2 points of damage, Tyler. I'm not even sure.
Oh, well, I don't want to make you have to roll to find out. Maybe 1d4. I do know they are prickly.
Yes. Really great accent plant for full sun, or, in a succulent garden, or something like that, or just in a place where you just can't get anything else to grow. Because they'll grow just about anywhere. Does get some size to it. The clump itself kind of, gets perpetually bigger. I've seen them 3 feet wide, and the blades almost 4 feet tall. And then in kind of late spring, early summer, it'll have a bloom stalk that comes out of the center, and it'll have several blooms along that stalk, which are edible, actually. The blooms are edible.
I did not know that.
They don't really taste like much of anything.
I was going to say, sweet, savory, middle of the road.
Just, they taste kind of plantish.
Tastes like survival. Yeah.
You could add it to a salad, a summer salad, sure.
Sounds like a garnish to me.
Same thing with pansy blooms. They're edible.
Yes, I heard of that.
So, all right, well, I think that's it. And, if, we get a good enough response, I'll do another one. I can bring more. There's always more in the monster manual than the players think. You know what I'm saying?
Almost as many as the mind can come up with.
Yeah. And there's also, I don't know, I can't do that with plants, but I was going to say there's also home-brewed monsters that the DM can bring in.
Totally.
But I can't, if I was a plant breeder, I could do it, but that's not my job. Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope it was entertaining and educational. If we have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any.
We do have one comment from a viewer. She said, all of the plants are gorgeous.
Excellent. Thank you.
And that is something that is remarkable. Also thinking about, you've picked a cross-section of plants that are fantastical looking.
Yes.
Or sounding, but they also look great.
Yes.
And across a range of conditions.
Right.
And evergreen and deciduous, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's
awesome.
I love the spread. So, if you have any questions out there, comment them. This webinar will be available later to be viewed, so you can always leave a comment then as well. And we'll get back to you either on Facebook or email. We have an email info@batesnursery.com where you can send us questions.
We have all
photos.
kinds of ways to answer your questions.
Yep, you can cast this spell message, which...
Yeah, you can. Text message, is that what it's called?
Yes, I believe, yeah. Yeah, and it sends an invisible communication to us.
Yes.
Through electronic devices.
Mm-hmm.
It's magical. I guess while we're waiting for questions and stuff, why don't you talk about your book a little bit?
Oh, okay.
Where maybe folks can find it.
Okay.
And then,
so you can find it on Amazon. It's self-published through Amazon. So this month, for the 25th anniversary of the gaming group that I wrote the book about, it's 99 cents for the Kindle copy. So less than $1.
That is the best deal you can
buy.
Ever get. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Maybe I'm being a little self-serving here, but excellent story, epic fantasy, lots of characters. It's not just about the adventuring group. It's about what's going on in the world around them and why they end up doing what they do.
Mm-hmm. He did a lot of world building.
Yeah, so it's kind of an exercise in when you're gaming and you show up and the dungeon master tells a story and the players react to it. There's a lot of stuff in order for it to actually be a great story. Has to go on behind that, and so there's a lot of stuff you don't see when you're just playing the characters, and so that's kind of what I had to write and put into the book to kind of fill out the story and make it compelling for anybody that wanted to read it. You don't have to be a fan of Dungeons and Dragons to like it.
It's not like he wrote out the roles and the the individual checks that people performed. It reads like a fantasy epic, and it's
high fantasy. I mean, it's similar to obviously Lord of the Rings. You have to give Tolkien all the props for essentially. I mean, I don't think he technically invented the genre because he was taking a lot of stuff from English and Norse mythology and kind of putting his own thing on it, but he invented the modern version, and so that kind of spun off to Terry Brooks and Ursula K. Le Guin and all these other awesome authors. So
yes, and we did get a comment, though it's an annual, we love Dragon Wing Begonia.
Oh, that's very true. Yeah, we just don't have any because it's in the, but yeah, very good call. Mm-hmm. Yes. And there's also Angel Wing too, which I guess you could you could bring that in as well.
Angels and dragons and
oh yeah.
Another one that came to my mind was Black Tower Elderberry.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think we have one over there. I was going to bring one.
Any.
Yeah, and there's also Green Tower Boxwood. See, I told you. We can do another one.
Yes, we can.
So
I think we're going to have to.
Okay, good.
So we'll do a re-roll, as we call it.
Yes.
Continuation.
We'll do a re-roll. I was going to try to.
I mean, it's not really. It's a continuation, so it needs to be.
Yeah, we'll say
second campaign.
Session 2. Yeah, second campaign number 2.
Okay. Well, I mean, it looks like we're not getting any other questions. So, Adam, if you want to go ahead and wrap it up, we're good.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, and don't forget to go to batesnursery.com if you have any other questions. So you can find the way to reach us, or you can even search our inventory to see how many of all of these awesome fantasy-themed plants that we have. So appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.